My fingers trembled as I dialed her number, the familiar digits etched into my memory. The guilt had festered in my chest for years, clawing at me with relentless persistence. Mia had been everything to me. A friend, a mentor, a sister I never had. And yet, I was the reason her dreams lay in ruins. It all started with jealousy, that insidious monster I tried so hard to ignore. Mia had been offered an internship at one of the most prestigious art institutes. I was proud of her, but the dark whispers in my mind twisted that pride into resentment. One night, during a celebration of her acceptance, my envy escaped my lips in careless words. I told her how lucky she was, how undeserving she seemed, how others were more talented but overlooked. I watched her confidence crumble beneath the weight of my bitterness. And the worst part? I didn't stop. I continued feeding her insecurities, guiding her away from that opportunity, convincing her to abandon her passion. I wanted to feel superior, to feel like I had something she didn't. Instead, I felt hollow. Days turned into weeks, and my guilt grew heavier with each passing moment. Mia had changed, her bright smile replaced by a hollow stare. She stopped painting altogether, the vibrant spark within her extinguished. And I continued on, pretending like nothing happened. But every time I looked at her, the weight of my betrayal pressed down on me. I avoided her more and more, using excuses and lies to keep my distance. When she finally confronted me about my absence, her voice cracked with the hurt I had caused. I wanted to tell her the truth, to confess how I had sabotaged her dreams out of selfishness. But the fear of losing her forever silenced me. I watched her walk away that night, the finality of her departure echoing in my mind. The days without Mia felt like an endless void. I threw myself into work, friendships, distractions, anything to silence the guilt that echoed in my mind. But the truth was, nothing worked. My thoughts always drifted back to her, to the night I let my pettiness destroy something so precious. I scrolled through old messages, our chats filled with laughter, dreams, and shared secrets. My thumb hovered over the send button 1,000 times, but my cowardice always won. I didn't deserve forgiveness. I didn't deserve her friendship. And yet, deep down, I longed to make things right. But how could I ever explain that I had knowingly ripped away her future out of nothing but envy? The question plagued me, leaving me restless and hollow. Years slipped by, but the wound remained fresh. I moved to a new city, started a new job, met new people. Yet Mia's absence was a ghost that haunted my every step. One evening, while browsing through social media, I stumbled upon a post about her. Mia had started a small art studio, teaching kids to paint and finding joy in sharing her passion. Seeing her smile, that genuine glow I once tried to dim, tore at my heart. I realized she had rebuilt her life from the ashes I left behind. And yet, I knew she deserved so much more. The weight of my guilt grew heavier. I couldn't pretend anymore. It was time to face what I'd done. My heart raced as I walked up to her studio. I rehearsed my apology 100 times, but the words felt hollow, inadequate. When Mia opened the door, her eyes widened in shock. It was clear she never expected to see me again. I stumbled through my words, explaining how jealousy had twisted me, how I had deliberately sabotaged her dreams, and how that guilt had eaten away at me every single day. Tears streamed down my face as I confessed everything. I waited for her to yell, to tell me to leave, to hate me the way I had hated myself for so long. But instead, she listened. Her silence was heavier than any insult she could have thrown. Mia's voice was steady when she finally spoke. She told me how deeply my betrayal had hurt her, how it shattered her confidence and pushed her into darkness. But she also told me how she had fought her way back, how finding a new purpose through teaching art saved her. Her words were not filled with anger but with truth. She made me understand the damage I had done, not just to her but to myself as well. I realized that my envy had left me broken too. It was only by facing the pain I had caused that I could hope to heal. Apologizing was not enough. Mia made that clear. It wasn't about the words, it was about change. So I devoted myself to understanding why I had acted the way I did. Therapy, self-reflection, rebuilding my own dreams without tearing down others. I started volunteering at her studio, helping with classes whenever I could. The kids were curious and forgiving, their creativity untouched by the bitterness I once harbored. And as the weeks turned into months, I began to heal. Working with Mia and the children transformed me in ways I never expected. I found joy and creativity in encouraging others to flourish rather than suppressing their light. Mia's not immediate, but it was real. Slowly, we rebuilt our friendship, brick by painful brick. The process was excruciating but necessary. And as I watched Mia thrive, her studio expanding and her passion rekindled, I realized that this was what redemption looked like. Not erasing the past, but learning from it. Months had passed, and the studio had become a second home to me. My friendship with Mia was still fragile, but slowly mending. One afternoon, Mia and I sat on the floor after a long class, our backs against the wall, paint smudged on our hands and clothes. I found myself opening up to her about my own struggles, how envy had consumed me, how I had been so focused on competing that I lost sight of my own worth. Mia listened without judgment, her gaze steady and compassionate. It struck me then that Mia wasn't just forgiving me, she was helping me forgive myself. And that was the hardest part. Forgiveness isn't a moment, it's a process. Mia and I continued to rebuild what I had broken, not by pretending the past didn't happen, but by acknowledging it fully. I poured my energy into the studio, not to earn her forgiveness, but because it brought me peace. And when Mia finally hugged me one day, truly hugged me, I felt the years of guilt begin to dissolve. I had ruined her dreams once, but now I was helping her rebuild something even more beautiful. And through it all, I discovered dreams of my own, ones that didn't require tearing someone else down to achieve.